Hello, I will continue with Genesis 37. Jacob lived in the land where his father had stayed, the land of Canaan. This is the account of Jacob. Joseph, a young man of 17. So Joseph had 17 years old, was tending the flocks with his brothers, the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And he brought their father a bad report about them. Joseph. Now Israel loved Joseph more than any of his other sons, because he had been born to him in his old age. And I don't think it just because of that, because he loved Rachel. He wanted to marry for the start with Rachel, only with Rachel, but Laban, he's the father of Rachel, gave him in the wedding night her sister, or yeah, his other girl, Leah. I don't know if he had any boys. He had only two girls, I think, and not I think, yeah. And look what happened. And he made a richly ornamented robe for him. When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him. Not just because of that, yeah, but because of first thing too. He brought their father a bad report about them. Joseph was for his father the chosen one, and should not have any other wives, or yeah, and those other people, children, were born not by the woman he loved. And look what happened. What big problems can make such decisions to. He didn't choose at first, but he could stop the derapage, the destruction way, by having just two women, or yeah, it was a bit difficult to at first. Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him all the more. He said to them, "Listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain out in the field, when suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright, while your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it." Whoa, whoa, whoa. His brother said to him, "Do you intend to reign over us?" Will you actually rule us? And they hated him all the more because of his dream and what he had said. Then he had another dream. What we can learn from this is sometimes we must shut up and keep the good stuff just for us. But can you do that? If God give you something beautiful and something wonderful, can you just keep silent? And is it that a good a good how can I say, a good thing, a good behavior? But to avoid these problems, then he had another dream and he told it to his brothers. He didn't know that his brothers were not his brothers, like real brothers. Yeah, they had the same father, but even if they didn't have the same mother, but even if there was a distance between them, and he didn't realize that he was the youngest. And I think, yeah, like here it says, because he had been born to him in his old age. Yeah, maybe these two is a plus that was the son of Rachel that he loved, that Israel or Jacob loved. Listen, he has said, I had another dream, and this time the sun and moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me. When he told his father as well as his brothers, his father rebuked him and said, What is this dream you had? Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow down to the ground before you? His brothers were jealous of him. Yeah, but just for words. Maybe they still believe that a dream can come true. But his father kept the matter in mind. Now his brothers had gone to graze their father's flocks near Shechem. Shechem, we know what happened there. The land where Simon and Levi killed those people from there because they what happened with Dinah and Shechem? What did Shechem to Dinah, their sister? And Israel said to Joseph, As you know, your brothers are grazing the flocks near Shechem. Come, I am going to send you to them. Israel, didn't he realize what he is doing? That if you have more children and you love one more than the others will hate him. You must share the same importance to everyone. And Israel, yeah. Very well, he replied. So he said to him, go and see if all is well with your brothers. But Israel used him, it was his child, but to he was sending him to give a report of how is the situation, and if something was bad, even if now they hated Joseph more, go and see if all is well with your brothers and with the flocks, and bring word back to me. He was like a spy, but not, a bit. But it was nothing private. Everyone knew that. Then he sent him off from the valley of Hebron. I think everyone knew, or I don't know. Yeah, I think. When Joseph arrived at Shechem, a man found him wandering around in the fields and asked him, what are you looking for? He replied, I am looking for my brothers. Can you tell me where they are grazing their flocks? They have moved out from here, the man answered. I heard them say, let's go to Dothan. He could come back at home, but in that situation, what would you do? To send reports, it means to verify everything. So Joseph went after his brothers and found them near Dothan. But they saw him in the distance, and before he reached them, they plotted to kill him. Here comes the dreamer, they said to each other. Come now, let's kill him and throw him into one of these cisterns, and say that a ferocious animal devoured him. Then we'll see what comes of his dreams. They were jealous, and they somehow they believed that that thing can happen. When Reuben heard this, Reuben was the firstborn. He's the oldest one. He tried to rescue him from their hands. Let's not take his life, he said. Don't shed any blood. Throw him into the cistern here in the desert, but don't lay a hand on him. Reuben said this to rescue him from them and take him back to his father. Was he a bit afraid to say everything in front of them? Or why would he say that and not taking him and back and to his father? So when Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped him of his robe, the richly ornamented robe he was wearing. And they took him and threw him into the cistern. What kind of cistern were there? It's very interesting. Now the cistern was empty. In Romania there is a fountain, or without water, I think. There was no water in it. As they sat down to eat their meal, so they threw him out in that cistern, and they sat down to eat their meal. This is like when Jesus was crucified, and those people who crucified him, those soldiers, were gambling for his clothes, for they were eating in front of him, and it was very As they sat down to eat their meal, they looked up and saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. Gilead, or in Romania, Galad, I think, translated. Their camels were loaded with spices, balm, and myrrh, and they were on their way to take them down to Egypt. Judah said to his brothers, "What will we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites and not lay our hands on him." He was maybe a bit afraid of killing too. And maybe he loved money. Judah, after all, he is our brother, our own flesh and blood. His brothers agreed. So when the Midianite, Medan and Midian are the sons of Abraham from Keturah, but they were not Ishmaelites. What happened there? Were they Midianites or Ishmaelites? Or were they mixed together? Maybe, I don't know what happened. So when the Midianite merchants came by, his brothers pulled Joseph up out of the cistern and sold him for 20 shekels. Jesus was sold by a Judah, another Judah, but for 30 silver coins, I think. And sold him for 20 shekels of silver to the Ishmaelites who took him to Egypt. So, were they Ishmaelites or Midianites? Maybe both. Where Reuben returned to the cistern, but where Reuben was, I don't know. Hey, they were with the flocks, maybe when they were eating Reuben, I don't know where it was. It's interesting. When Reuben returned to the cistern and saw that Joseph was not there, he tore his clothes. He went back to his brothers and said, "The boy isn't there. Where can I turn now?" Then they got Joseph's robe, slaughtered a goat, and dipped the robe in the blood. They took the ornamented robe back to their father and said, "We found this. Examine it to see whether it is your son's robe." He recognized it and said, "It is my son's robe. Some ferocious animal has devoured him. Joseph has surely been torn to pieces." What a lie, and whoa, they sold his own brother, their own brother, and they wanted to kill him, and they are lying now, because one sin is like a chain, and if you fell down you make it step down, you must make another one and another one and another one. Um, then Jacob tore his clothes, put on sackcloth, and mourned for his son many days. All his sons and daughters came to comfort him. Whoa! All his sons and daughters. So it means that he had daughters too, not just Dinah. But why he didn't say things about that? Or maybe he didn't had other daughters. When Shechem and his father they wanted to marry with their daughters, so it seems that it was not just only Dinah, the only woman, the daughter, and it was a community. They were maybe slaves and lots of people there. All Jacob's household, so they were not alone. Just it was a bit different. But he refused to be comforted. No, he said. In mourning will I go down to the grave to my son. Not mourning, mourn. So his father wept for him. Meanwhile, the Midianites sold Joseph in Egypt to Potiphar, one of Pharaoh's officials, the captain of the guard. It was another child there too, Benjamin. The Joseph from Rachel's son, and the Joseph brother from his mother and his father too. But I think it was very little. He was so little that he was not involved at all. So his father wept for him. Meanwhile, the Midianites sold Joseph in Egypt to Potiphar, one of Pharaoh's officials, the captain of the guard. Well, the end of the episode. Are we curious for the next chapter 2? Are you curious? If God wants, maybe the God will enlighten me, and if God wants, you will see me there too. God, that was this chapter. What we can learn about this story is it to not tell everything to anyone at first, at second to not choose one of your children to not love more than the others, and third to not be jealous. That may some people are more appreciated, more chosen, the chosen ones, and you are not. Keep your feelings and keep your attitude, master your attitude, master your personality, your body and everything, and don't fall down into bad things. Okay, God bless you all.